guys. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. And for those of you who are repeat offenders, welcome back to the Conscious Basket Show. My name is Samantha McCord, and I am the founder and CEO of Conscious Basket. And on the show, we are going to be interviewing extraordinary people just trying to make a difference in this world and giving you tips on how you can too. So as always, if you like what we do, please subscribe, download a couple episodes, and leave a comment below. I will read them all. But for now, let's just dive right in.
If your energy is low, you're more susceptible to illness. And there are many things out there that can make your energy low, whether it's crappy food, whether it's toxic people, whether it's the toxins in your house. If you're suffering with any kind of struggle in your life, that can bring your vibration down and leave you more susceptible to disharmony and whatnot.
In this episode, we welcome Emma, the founder and CEO of Frequency Happy, who is an empowered mama living and breathing her work, all while juggling her beautiful daughter, Daisy. She is a healer who uses body talk and has gifts to help elevate your energy, and she's really focusing on giving us all a little more self-love in our lives. But now, since COVID hit, she's had to pivot from doing work on people's bodies to digital healing and using different modalities and oils to help people empower themselves. We also talk about how toxins are everywhere and ways to keep your toxic load low, ways to keep centered and calm with essential oils, different ways to bake and cook with the oils and the health benefits, how to release happy hormones, and how to boost your immunity in a time we all need to be our healthiest. Let's dive right in. Hey guys, welcome back to the Conscious Basket podcast. My name is Samantha McCord. I'm the CEO and founder of Conscious Basket, and with us today is Emma. She is a holistic therapist, been adapting to being a mother, moving out of her home country to Amsterdam, well, to the Netherlands, and now she's working from home, trying to adjust her holistic practice to now doing distance holistic therapy and just overall becoming the empowered mama she is today. Welcome to the show.
Hey everybody, nice to meet you, and thank you, Samantha, for inviting me.
Yes, we have a little guest here as well. Hello, can you say hello, Daisy?
You can say hi, Daisy. I'm sure she'll pipe up at some stage during the interview.
It's okay. She can do whatever she wants. She's cute. So, yeah, I mean, I wanted to bring Emma on the show. I think that a part of, especially what we're all going through right now with COVID and making sure that not only we're eating healthy, but that overall we are keeping our toxic load low and focusing on specific nutrients that'll keep us healthy. Emma is really a staple in making sure that holistic side is taken care of. We're all working from home, well, most of us anyways, and making sure that there are specific things in your environment keeping you healthy. It's not about just what you eat. There's other things involved as well. And, but I wanted to start off, Emma, with just your story. So you are born and raised in the UK, and you had a salon for a long time, right?
Yeah, so basically I did all the usual stuff, went through education, my parents were pulling the hair out because I didn't seem to want to leave. And after my degree, I then went on to do beauty therapy. And during that process, I did a lot of the holistic studies as well, ranging from Indian head massage to reflexology, aromatherapy, and the list goes on. So, yeah. And my journey started there, really, and I became a servant to trying to make other people happy. But it soon became apparent to me that everybody, or a lot of people, struggle with their own self-esteem. And I think for many years I was trying to mend that. Oh, no, darling. Okay, as long as you take it away. Yeah. So for many years, I was trying to mend that. And I realized that actually everybody has to do their own journey. And working 14 years in a salon really, really taught me that. And I had a great time. But unfortunately, due to everybody knows what it's like if you've run your own business, due to all the form filling and the policies and making sure your staff are happy, a little bit of my joy was lost in that journey. And as much as I loved it, I missed just doing therapies for people. So this has been, through the move, this has been a fabulous awakening for me to get back into my spiritual side and embrace that beauty again in the therapies and enjoy doing it without all the baggage of form filling, consultation cards and, filling your column, making sure you're making the bills paid, etc., etc. So it has been a beautiful process.
That's so nice. And it, reconnecting with, your soul's passion. I mean, even though you probably made people's hair look amazing, I think it's such a blessing on the world today, having more healers around. But something else too is interesting. This lovely little lady we've got on your lap is also a miracle baby. I wanted to touch on that because it pulls us right into the aromatherapy.
Of course, yes. So I'm an older mama. And we were told categorically by two people that we wouldn't be able to have children. Being the stubborn lady that I am, I then went down what I know best, which was Chinese medicine, aromatherapy, good nutrition, plenty of energy sessions, either body talk or Reiki, using the crystals, you name it, we probably did it. My poor husband was put on a strict diet of reduced smoking and booze, etc. And
Mama,
what, darling?
I can say hello to Daddy.
Okay, darling, you go say hello to Daddy. That's right. You interrupt his meeting.
I can say hello to Daddy.
Okay.
That's fine.
So, anyway, nothing was happening. So we decided to adopt 2 dogs from Spain. And bizarrely, about a year after that, I fell pregnant, genuinely thinking that I was going through the menopause. And I was thinking, no. And I was pregnant. I was like, wow. And it was right before a wicked party as well. I was gutted. I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to be able to party hard. But so it was a very, very happy time. But unfortunately, as the happiness comes in, there's always something else to deal with, isn't there? And my mum got sick with cancer. And that was really when I started looking at alternatives for chemotherapy. She was very, very poorly with the chemotherapy, and I wanted to support her through that journey. So imagine the crazy, you're sat there with your mum, she's doing a cold capping, having a chemotherapy, and I'm sat there doing Reiki and body talk with her. And so that was an interesting journey. And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced looking at the alternative therapies for things like that. There's plenty of research out there. But unfortunately, when you then tackle it with the specialists, they're just not interested at all. So one of the research papers that I read was about frankincense and breast cancer. And you can go on pubmed.gov and you can find a whole list of papers on there that support the use of frankincense for that particular type of cancer. So when I started looking into it, obviously my mum was like, just leave me alone, I'm fine, let me get on with this. And I'm going, no, Mum, no, you've got to have some. So, when I came across most aromatherapy companies, a lot of them couldn't guarantee that you could take them internally. And I was like, well, so why is this? What's happening here, And sadly, many, many companies, their aromatherapy oils are adulterated. So they might say they're 100% pure, but in reality, they're not. And we all know what marketing can do regards, trickery on the labeling and whatnot.
Yeah, and I think that a big part of it too is being transparent with the supply chain and understanding where the oils are coming from, what's the origin of the product. And the group that you work with is very transparent about that, 100% vegan, supply chain is clear. And one of the things, like you mentioned, you can ingest them. So I think that's very important, especially when you're putting it in the air. Maybe you're not ingesting it, but you're smelling it. You're putting it topically on your skin. If you can't eat it, then I wouldn't feel comfortable putting it even on my skin or in the air.
That's exactly right. And Doterra, like you say, are completely transparent. And you can even go onto their own source2you.com website, and you can track every single bottle back down to its origin, where it was grown, at what time, and all the rest of it. If you look on the bottom of Doterra oils, they all have like a little code, and you can plug that into the source2you.com and find out the entire history of that particular oil, which I just think is fantastic. And it just gives you so much peace of mind. And like you say, if you're working with children and you're using them in the home or on sick people, you don't want to mess about with anything that you're not sure about.
Exactly. And so just moving into, talking about messing with children, you had mentioned to me that Daisy's never had a vaccine. It's all been at-home remedies that you've done to keep her healthy to date. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I don't want to come across as an anti-vaxxer, but given my time working in the salon, I was very lucky to work with children that had been injured during vaccine injury. And these kiddies were amazing. I worked with one little boy that had his left hemisphere of his brain removed, and they were using aromatherapy oils to help switch on, to do neural plasticity, to help his motor skills come back. And his journey was amazing. And I was very lucky to work with him through Body Talk, it was, and cranial sacral fascia therapy, and to help switch parts of his body back on and allow his good side of his brain that's there to take on some of those tasks that the left side would have done. And this little boy was in mainstream education. He knew how to talk. He really was a miracle child, blew me away. And I worked with about another 3 or 4 children that they were very poorly babies, don't get me wrong, but the vaccine system added to those difficulties. So, yeah, it made me question the vaccine industry, where it's heading. I don't think it originally headed in that direction. And I just think they could really clean up their act in what they put in there, So that's all I'm going to say, because it's such a hot topic. People get very passionate about it, and I respect everybody for their views. I have no problem. But for me, for my daughter to have a 6-in-1 at the age of 2 months, it wasn't going to go down well. So we decided not to.
Yeah. And, I think that the other part of it too is, treating your mother, treating Daisy, and looking at this chemical-free, trying to make it very clean, holistic way of being healthy. I mean, it's not just, treating children and, making miracles happen. It's also something as simple as cleaning your house, because you can make cleaning supplies.
Absolutely. I mean, if you download a bog standard list of hazardous ingredients in the home and then started to look at all the bottles in your home, you would be petrified. You really would. So, yeah, don't go down there. Maybe just do one thing at a time, So I've got all the time in the world at the moment, so I decided to do that journey. And yeah, as I finished one product, I was like, right, I'm not going to replace that. And Doterra have made life very, very easy. They do an on-guard cleaner concentrate, so it's kind of, the base is readily made, and then you can add extra essential oils to that depending on what area of your house you're cleaning. So, for instance, a favourite blend of mine is lemon, because it helps get rid of sticky residues. And I quite often put a minty one like spearmint in there, because it's so uplifting and refreshing in your house. And when people come in my house, they're like, your house smells amazing. And I'm like, I know. And it's such a cheap way. You wipe your surfaces all the time, and then you're putting your hands on them, you're breathing it in. Why wouldn't you go chemical free, I
was actually thinking about it after you and I were talking, and I looked at my bottles under my sink. You're like, oh yeah, I hand make all of my cleaning supplies. I was like, oh, I don't do that. And I swear to you, every time I do an interview with someone, I'm finding toxins in things. Like last one was, she's like, check out your soap. My soap was fine, thankfully. But I took a look under my sink, and I'm seriously appalled with what we have to clean. And also the fact that there's a fruit basket on my countertop. And I started thinking about the chain reaction to these chemicals, to not just touching you with your hands and, being around it, but it's also getting on your food supply. And because it's just your fruit and things are out on the countertop. And I'm starting to realize more and more that I'm ingesting chemicals without even thinking and realizing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're hidden everywhere. And not only that, don't forget, by the time you get to your fruit to eat it, never mind the chemicals you've sprayed in your own home, the amount of chemicals and waxy products that are on the outside of your fruits is phenomenal. But don't worry, because we have an oil for that too. So
it sounds like you're like a chemist. I mean, like you have that, way you make the stuff for your house. You make, oils for Daisy. You make oils for your mom. Like, what are some of your oils that are your own blends?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, my whole house is littered with oils, and I treated myself this Christmas to a little label maker because the amount of blank oils I had rolling around, thinking, what's in there? Well, it smells nice. I'll just use it, and I'm sure it has benefit for me. But that's not so great when you want to be a bit more precise. So one of my favourite ones for all of those mothers out there and daddies that are struggling with kids at home is I have a little roller ball here, and it's called Chill the Fudge Out. So I'm just staring. Can you see it?
Oh, there, yeah.
So I made this one, and in here we have Adaptive, Sandalwood, and Vetiver. Adaptive is a Doterra blend, which is great for anxiety, or if you struggle with things being thrown at you left, right, and centre, and you're like, oh, you're feeling scattered and can't get centred. And then Sandalwood is also very grounding, and that lovely woody, sweet aroma. And Vetiver knocks you out. So you don't need a glass of wine. You just have a roller of that, and you're absolutely fine with that one.
I need something like that
everywhere. And when Daisy's having a tantrum, I mean, bear in mind, Daisy's very used to the essential oils, but I wouldn't normally put that kind of concentration on her, because they are blended down, but you would blend it down further for a child. But she's very used to my oils.
Yeah.
So if she's having a major tantrum in the car, or, when you're on one of these calls or whatever, I put a little bit on the bottom of her feet, and it quite often dissipates. So yeah, they come in handy, these oils.
That's amazing. And you have a few things that you make too with the chocolates too, right?
Yeah. So we have, I like to make raw baked chocolates with cacao, because obviously that's high in magnesium, which is great for, again, tension, helps your muscles relax. And of course, the cacao curbs cravings. So cheap chocolate, you just want to eat more and more and more and more. Whereas one or two of my chocolates, you don't need to eat anymore. And it releases your happy hormones, which we all need more happy hormones. Who doesn't? So the nice thing is cacao can be quite bitter, and I'm yet to perfect the perfect chocolate. So I cheat a little bit by putting either peppermint in, so you've got a nice fresh kind of after 80 sensation, or wild orange for those of you that like Terry's chocolate orange. That orangey aftertaste is just delicious.
So good.
And for those adults that like to indulge, we can say that here because we are in the Netherlands. I will make the odd batch with a little bit of cannabis oil in there just to help unwind at night time. And I have terrible insomnia, so that combined with the oils is super. I get a good 8-9 hours sleep, so it's perfect.
Between the fuck off spray and the THC chocolate, I'm gonna sleep for like a month.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do. These oils, I mean, I had no idea when I first started looking at them. When I did aromatherapy in my modules when I was younger, it bored me. But when I got into them recently, the last 4 years, I can't believe the levels that these can be introduced. So either through cooking, household cleaning, through pets, through children, through just, the obvious, like supporting your immunity in these crazy times.
Yeah.
You know, doTERRA have ticked off everything. They've even done now a protein powder to support vegans. You know, they have a whole nutritional range. So they really aren't missing anybody out. And same with the cosmetics. You can get, you know, all your chemical-free shampoos, face stuff, everything from there. So, yeah, you can't go wrong with them. And I have a lot invested. My whole lifestyle seems to be around doTERRA and various other modalities, and so far so good.
What are some of those other modalities that you feel are holistic and part of your overall regimen?
Okay, so I have crystals all around the house, and I help because it ties in with my name, Frequency Happy. I work with the energies. So as you know, if your energy is low, you're more susceptible to illness. And there are many things out there that can make your energy low, whether it's crappy food, whether it's toxic people, whether it's the toxins in your house. If you're suffering with any kind of, you know, struggle in your life, that can bring your vibration down and leave you more susceptible to disharmony and whatnot. So, yeah, I believe so much in the frequency medicines because there is no addictive side, there are no side effects, and you're not going to poison your body, and you can't overdose on them either. So, you know, why wouldn't you? Yeah. So, yeah, we have crystals in the house, and of course, Daisy likes playing with those. I'm like, yes, play more, especially with the pink ones. Relax. And then I do body talk. Body talk is based on a Reiki energy. The founder of Body Talk did Reiki first of all, and then he built this system around it, which encompasses many different other modalities to do with chakras, meridians, looking at how the environment affects your body. But it's all energetic and plugs into this one system. So I call it Reiki on steroids, really. And I do a lot of that. There is some home techniques you can do by yourself. You can see them on YouTube. Or if I'm working with a client, obviously I then have the whole access to the charts and work through that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I work with many, many different modalities. And if I'm feeling really crazy and the energy in the house is super crazy, then the Tibetan singing bowl comes out, simple. And I blast every room with that and just clear off any kind of rogue frequencies that are sending us all crazy.
Okay, I didn't even realize that there were that many things that you could use to clear out your energy and uplift your frequency. I always feel like, because I meditate every morning for about 45 minutes, and it's all about raising the frequency and blessing your chakra energy centers so that you're able to go through the day with intention and release. Like, for example, my throat chakra is sometimes blocked. I can tell because I say some really mean things or it just doesn't come out right, you know? So if you bless your energy centers every day, I think that that's a good start. But I did not realize that I use a lot of like sage, and, you know, I sage myself in my office every morning, and I sage and say a prayer for my family and whatever. But I really love the idea of taking not just, you know, your body, but also the energies in the rooms, taking into account stones, taking into account oils, chemicals, what you eat. What you eat is an interesting topic. I think it's funny. Not funny, I feel bad for Christian, but you can, I would love to hear about your guys' journey to going plant-based.
Okay, so bearing in mind, we've been in the Netherlands just a year, so things were pretty chaotic and we're all settling into our newfound roles and settling in. Christian is working maybe 12, 14 hours a day.
Christian's her husband, by the way.
Yeah. And he started with pains in his feet, and then it got to the stage where he literally couldn't walk, and the only comfort he had was staying in bed. And I just said, you know, this just isn't going to work for me. We've got to find a way of, you know, what's going on. And we read online, as you do, and obviously none of us can do diagnostics, but you have a dig around to see what symptoms are looking like that. And it did point to gout. Anyway, after several failed doctors' attempts. They were all like, oh no, you've just an injury, or it's a bit of arthritis, or it's a bit of this. Eventually was properly diagnosed with gout. So we went to see the specialist at the hospital, and she said, you need to go plant-based, basically, get all the acid out of your body. So that's what we did. We cleaned up our refrigerator and our kitchen and our mindset to do with food. I got some combination of oils together that Christian could take in a veggie cap. So he was clearing his system inside. The diffusers were going 24/7. And I was trying to massage the areas where the crystals had formed in his feet to help dissipate the crystals. And he was having therapies left, right, and centre.
How's he feeling now?
Great. So it's definitely meat that does it. So if he falls off the train and decides to have some meat, you can guarantee that evening he has about 6 hours of pain in his feet. But because his system is so clear now, the minute he hits the lemon water and starts clearing his system, it goes away quite quickly. But he's like, yeah, meat is definitely, because you always go back to your old habit just to see, don't you, to test the water. And he's like, no, meat is definitely off the cards. So yeah. So we're experimenting too, trying to find alternatives to meat. We don't always like the taste of the plant-based meat that you can buy, but I've discovered chopping up lots of mushrooms, seasoning it really well, it's just like minced meat. And I'm like, yay, little victory. So we're delighted with that. And I've just discovered that Doterra do a range of oils specifically for cooking. So they do an Italian one, a Mexican one, and I think there was an Indian one as well. I'm not sure. So I've not tried those out yet. So I'm going to. And you can make marinades with those, add them to your vegetables, just to really heighten the taste from what you're cooking,
Yeah, it's all about the seasoning when you're plant-based or vegan. I mean, I remember when I first became plant-based and I would look at tofu and I'd be like, what is everybody doing with this? It's just a block of white, it's like styrofoam. Like, I don't understand what it is. And, I made buffalo wings the other day. So it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all about the seasoning and how you prepare it. And I feel like most everything that you eat, minus maybe a bone-in fillet, can be made vegan. So hopefully Christian doesn't miss it too much and his health will skyrocket and he won't ever miss it again. But it's difficult to transition to being plant-based. But when it comes down to your health, then, it's either do it or have your foot chopped off.
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds terrible, but I'm delighted because I wanted less meat in our diet anyway. And it was like the angels had given this as a silver lining and said, right, get on with it. That's you done. And to be fair, Daisy's never been big on meat anyway. She's always kind of picked it out. So it seems to suit us all quite well, which is great. So we just need to get more creative in the kitchen now, Yeah. But I mean, yeah, you can, with the right seasoning, you're exactly right. You can make anything taste delicious. So,
yeah, extremely helpful to have. It feels like Doterra just really covers all the bases. I mean, you can eat it, season with it, put it in a diffuser. You can put it topically. I mean, it sounds like kind of the one-stop shop.
Absolutely. And you don't have to get too difficult with it either. So for instance, when I have my fruit porridge in the morning, I put 2 drops of wild orange in there and it's just amazing. All the berries taste better. The porridge is a lot more interesting, especially when you're used to having jam like I am, so you've got to kind of replace those guilty pleasures with, nice things. And if you're struggling with like soda drinks, if you're a real fan of those, fizzy water with lemon oil or grapefruit's my favourite. You can get tangerine, there's lime, there's green mandarin, any of those. There is absolutely no need to be drinking these synthetic fizzy drinks, You can just turn, and they're all alkaline, so they're not going to damage your teeth. Same with your teas. A lot of herbal teas, they're supposed to erode at your enamel. Well, if you let the water cool down a little, add some oil, you don't need to have the herby teas. So, yeah, the world is your oyster with these things, and I'm learning more and more each time. They're great. And also when it comes to going back to what you were saying about cleaning your fruit and veg, we use the Doterra foaming hand soap, which has On Guard in it, which is a collection of oils to help reduce, those environmental threats. And with 2 drops of lemon oil, soak for 10 minutes, and you should see the film on top of the water of what's come off. And then you just rinse them off, and it freshens them up and gets rid of all those nasties.
It just feels like there's so many things that I need to do to clean up my kitchen just with the chemicals that we already use. I'm definitely going to be checking out some of the Doterra oils with you. And you had mentioned to me that you were putting together quite a few recipes. You had a really nice smoothie recipe and a lot of homemade combos. Are we going to be able to give those to the listeners?
Yes, of course. So my favourite smoothie recipe at the moment is some frozen mango, fresh blueberries, some frozen berries assorted, but just a few, chia seeds, flaxseed, oat milk, and then 2 drops of wild orange is just amazing. And you can add as much fruit as you want. If you like your smoothie really thick, then add more. If you want it, more like a flavoured milk, then obviously you add less. But you can add wild orange or the lime, any of those. The citrus oils are just amazing.
I was going to say, I think wild orange might be your favorite one.
Yeah, I do. I put wild orange in nearly everything, and I quite often have it diffusing through the house because it helps lift the energy again. And it's just lovely.
Oh, that is so nice. And if everybody wanted to find a way to connect with you on social or website, how would they find you?
So I'm on MeWe, and my page is called Frequency Happy. And you can email me at emma@frequencyhappy.nl. I have just come off Facebook and Instagram, etc., due to all the censoring. So I'm almost having to start from scratch. But I just was feeling a little bit hypocritical on that one, so I had to come away.
Well, we can put all those locations in the show notes so everybody can find that. You'll also find the berry recipe and a way to connect with Emma. So, I've even seen, her do such unique things with these oils, guys. And in a time that we're in now, talking about holistic health, and it's not just one thing anymore. You have to take in consideration, who you're around, what you're eating, the things that you're using to clean your home, and really just how you're also treating yourself and how you talk to yourself with your inner work. So I wanted to thank you, Emma, for coming on and talking about the wonderful, wonderful things aromatherapy can do for us all, and especially during this time. So thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
No, thank you so much. I've enjoyed every minute. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us on another episode of Conscious Basket. And just a small reminder, Conscious Basket is not just hosting interviews. We are in the process of launching our marketplace, where our goal is to make it super easy for you to make conscious decisions about what you're buying by knowing the origin of the products and services. We're using our technology to highlight a transparent supply chain with our vendors, which means you know what goes into those products and where they came from to make sure those things you buy don't weigh on your conscience. And to ensure this peace of mind, we have developed a score to rank the sustainability of the purchase. For instance, how much water is being used, trees saved, animal lives, human rights, and so on. So, if you're an entrepreneur with a sustainable product and would be interested in being on the platform, please email us at info@consciousbasket.com. Also, if you're an entrepreneur, thought leader, or academic that would like to be a guest on the show, please drop us a line at the same email. And if you're just interested in taking a closer look at us, you can also take a look at our website, which is www.consciousbasket.com. And as always, you can explore the topics we discussed in the show notes and find many more topics on all of our social platforms. So give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Conscious Basket. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to our show and leave us a comment with any key takeaways. I read them all. Share with your friends, family, post a screenshot on your social about the podcast so that we can extend our reach to help propel our movement forward. Finally, just another small reminder that perfectionism is not the goal here. In my opinion, perfectionism is what gets in the way of all of us collectively picking what I like to call your thing, which is whatever you choose to make a positive impact on this world. Thank you again for joining us.